Hey YTPC, 1 year ago today, February 24th, 2022, I smoked my first pipe. Today is my 1 year anniversary of being a pipe smoker. This was my first pipe, Eriksen Keystone, and this was my first tobacco. I'll be using both tonight. So I thought what I would do is give some, I think, 4 tips of lessons that I've learned over the year. Now, granted, I've only been pipe smoking for a year, but if I could go back and do some things different, these are kind of what these 4 tips are meant for new pipe smokers just getting started into it. So let me get this lit and I'll be back. Okay, tip number 1. Don't judge pipe smoking from your first smoke. I'm going to put a link up here. I recorded myself the first time I smoked it, and I guess I had built it up in my mind that it was going to be some kind of magical experience, and it wasn't. So don't go into it with expectations, and don't judge it from your first bowl, because most likely it will not be what you think it is, but it will grow into something that you really, really love. So perhaps I didn't choose the best tobacco, because this is not, a year into it, this tobacco is not doing much for me. It's not bad. Definitely I can taste the flavors in it, but the first time I smoked it, it was, well, you can watch that video. The experience was not super wonderful. So be patient, stick with it. Number 2, don't overcomplicate the process. There's a lot of videos out there, and they're going to tell you to, weigh the tobacco and push hard or soft, and then a little bit harder, then firmly. I'm going to throw up a little clip of what I do. Basically, I just fill it in and I keep pushing the tobacco down with the next pinch of tobacco. And then when it gets toward the top, I take a little draw. If it's just like straight air, I push down just a little bit, put a little more tobacco in until I get a little bit of resistance. That's the way that works for me. It's the easiest. I don't have to go, okay, well, we want to do a little baby push and then a medium push and then a hard push. And that way never really worked good for me. So don't overcomplicate it. My first time, I thought I had to be official and use matches. I quickly switched over to this little fireplace lighter. So I'd recommend eventually getting a cheap, honest lighter, but this is more than adequate to start. Now, if you want to switch to matches later for, I don't know, the authentic feeling, that's fine. But I would say start, don't overcomplicate it, pack it the easiest way you find, and use one of these. Number 3, avoid gas. And that's an acronym for gear acquisition syndrome. A lot of people get it when they start a hobby. They start buying a bunch of stuff. They just, oh, I'm gonna need that, I'm gonna need that, and that. Again, I didn't need matches. I should have just went with this. I thought I needed this. Haven't used it once. Just sitting on a bottom shelf on a cart in the shop. Never used it. Now, maybe if you're in the house, you would have use for, ashtray, but that was money I didn't need to spend. Any old tin with some whiskey bottle corks or wine corks screwed into the bottom, that's just fine. So Don't go crazy buying, just get a cheap little check tool, you know, what, $1, $2 the most. Primarily, this is all, get an inexpensive pipe. If I had to do it again, I probably would not have gone with one of these with removable bowls. I would have got an inexpensive briar pipe, but pipes are very subjective, so I will leave that up to you to decide. So basically, you need a lighter, check tool, a pipe, and it probably wouldn't be a bad idea. I do use this all the time for my pipes that aren't sitters. So, and then of course tobaccos, which brings me to number 4. Start slow with purchasing tobaccos and pipes, of course, because you really don't know what your style is going to be, what your tastes are going to be. I ended up with this. And both of the cabinets on either side of that rack are filled with tobaccos. And a lot of them I've given away in the last few months because I just found I didn't like them. So, and I saw somebody reviewing, I was like, oh, I got to try that. I didn't really even know my palate. So I ended up with a large stock of tobacco that I didn't really like. And another thing is, you think you'll be drawn to a certain pipe shape, but once you get it, you may not really enjoy that pipe shape so much. I bought a couple of church wardens, which I still like, and I thought I would be smoking them all the time, but I find that I don't reach for them that much. So buy an inexpensive pipe. Maybe stay away from the specialized ones in the beginning. Don't go too pricey with it. And that brings me to tobaccos. Starting slow, I would say maybe get one of each type or a couple of the types. Like for an English, I would recommend Presbyterian mixture. It's a good solid English. It's not too heavy. It shouldn't really kick you that much. Get a straight Virginia, full Virginia flake or Patriot flake, something like that. Get an aromatic. Peterson Connoisseur's Choice is good, and another highly rated one is Eileen's Dream. And then for a vapor, you'll hear people say vapor. It's actually for Virginia and Perique. So it's VA/PER. So if you hear somebody say a vapor, it's not, the stuff that people use to quit smoking. It's a Virginia/Perique. Elizabethan mixture is one of my favorite tobaccos. Also, you could try Orlik Golden Slice. That's a favorite of a lot of people. And Peterson Deluxe Navy Rolls is another one that's highly rated as a vapor. Now, there's a lot of other tobacco types out there, but if you start with an English, straight Virginia, an aromatic, and then a vapor, I think from at least what I've seen, those are the most common types. And do a couple bowls. And if you open the English and it's a little overwhelming at first, put it in a jar and come back to it in a few weeks. But try the Virginia. And spend time with each blend. Do a couple bowls with that tobacco to really see, okay, yeah, don't really find myself wanting to reach for that again, or wow, I don't really care to reach for the other ones. And your palate will still change as time progresses, but you won't end up with stacks of stuff that you bought when you really didn't know what your palate was at the time. And most importantly, enjoy it. Explore. I mean, there's thousands of tobaccos out there that I don't think any pipe smoker could ever try them all. But when you get a blend, make sure that you're not in a rush, that you can light the bowl and really taste it. And in the beginning, you won't really know what you're tasting. And what I did, I bought a bunch of pure tobacco, and I'll throw the links up to those videos here. And I tried each of the different types of pure, like a Virginia, a plain burley, Perique, and then Latakia all by itself, just the pure blending tobaccos, just so I could kind of learn a little bit. I'm still not very good at picking apart blends, but if you have the means and you're interested, that's a good way to get a feel, because in the beginning, before you become a pipe smoker, tobacco is just tobacco, and then you learn there's a lot of different types of tobacco there. And of course, the YTPC, the YouTube pipe community, has been an invaluable resource for learning about this hobby and seeing the reviews of different blends, different pipes, tips and tricks on pretty much everything related to the hobby. So explore all the channels, ask questions. I think most of the presenters are pretty good about providing responses. So definitely ask questions if you've got them. No one here is gonna judge you. We were all new at some point. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap this up, not make it too long. It's probably already longer than I intended. And I'm really going to try and enjoy the rest of this bowl, but this was probably not the best random pick for a first pipe smoke, because it's not really enjoyable for me now either. Okay, so I'm going to blow out my pipe smoking birthday candle, and I'll see you all in the next one.